And we are back for a special edition of the 1v1 podcast with the man, the myth, the legend, Rarity, hands down. And this is where Big Rich is going to be mad at me, and Garak is going to be mad at me. Um, Probably the best caster freelance, hands down the best caster for the FPC.
My
How
heart.
are you doing today, man?
I'm doing awesome today, man. I appreciate your time. Appreciate you having me.
I
The
mean, I
gas
have
is immaculate.
I appreciate you not being pissed off that, I messaged you 5 minutes to nine, but hey, by the way, I have a scrim tonight. Bet. Yeah.
Tell you, listen, I'm just sitting, I'm just chilling, playing my games. So I'm
What are you
no
playing
problem
right
for me.
now?
Uh, Playing some RuneScape, some good
Oh,
old
there we
RuneScape.
go.
My controller's a little busted, so I'm not able to play any controller games at the moment. So
Why'd you
cranking
break?
out. you know, uh,
You know
I
that,
just get so angry.
that round 11, game five.
That round 11 game 5 always brings me back. I just
So this one's gonna be a little different-ish. Yeah. Rarity tweeted out I think, oh fuck, I didn't take a screenshot. Pretty much she wanted to find a podcast, let's hop on and kind of talk about what the ins and outs of being a caster, the behind the scenes a little, and what leagues and orgs and shit, even players. You didn't add that
Mhm,
part in there, but one of our most beloved members of the FPC in FDL.
mhm.
I'm pretty sure she beats me to a good portion of tweets of leagues saying they're looking for a caster, and it's always like Rarity. But we'll also do a few of, the 1v1 questions. Let me get to my notey pad. But give them a little background on who the Rarity is.
Yeah, so
Where
I'm
you
ready.
from?
Yeah, I'm ready. Or Danny. I am from Syracuse, New York, or roughly Syracuse, New York. I have been doing broadcasting since about 2017. Started in traditional sports. I did hockey mainly, some college hockey, and then in about 2019, I dipped my toes into some Overwatch, or not 2018. I dipped my toes in some Overwatch, and ever since then, I've just been doing Call of Duty. Got my first casting gig with the FPC actually for the Vanguard season, and they've been absolutely incredible to me. Everyone behind the scenes there has been so nice,
Oh
and
yeah.
I'm absolutely happy to be putting in the effort for them because it's a hard. I'm not gonna lie to you, man. It is a tough gig some nights, but I mean the people are so nice. They keep me going. It's for such a great cause. The scene is amazing,
Yeah, we try
and
not to be a bunch of assholes to you guys.
right.
I kind of got pissed about the fifth time in this past season that they're like, "Oh, hey, by the way, we're gonna move your match up like two time spots." I'm like, "Excuse me? What?
Yeah. And say that
What?"
that normally happens because there's other teams that are like last second, like, yeah, we're gonna cancel, and we don't want like a 2 hour gap between.
It was
So
always us, bro.
it is always you
Like,
guys.
bro, what the
Yeah,
fuck?
it's always you guys.
I forget, it might have been the OTF match because that was like for playoffs. Like whoever
Mhm,
won
yeah.
that match, and you guys
Mhm.
were like, "So we're moving it up 2 hours." I'm like, "The fuck you
Yep.
are? I will move it up an hour.
Yep. I
I'll be
remember
nice.
that.
I'll move it up an hour."
I
But
remember you.
like,
I remember you messaging me when
I
that
was
was
like,
happening.
I was like, no, 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 sir, you are no, like, I was like, not 2 hours. You ain't doing that on like probably hands down the most important match for the
Mhm,
Thieves roster of that year because we had our little everybody was mentally down in the dumps
mhm.
there for a little bit because let's be honest, the roster I had went from being the underdog that nobody talked about to if they weren't blowing out rosters by like 150 points, winning searches 6-1, 6-2. People like, oh, well,
Yeah. I,
what are they doing wrong? And I flat out told Nurse and them like, just have fucking fun for a couple weeks. Who gives a fuck?
mhm.
Apparently
Yeah,
that apparently that ends up biting me in the ass. But hey, fuck it, we ball.
yeah.
But yeah. So college hockey, was it for the University of Syracuse? Were you that big of a baller?
No, no, no. It was for the University at Buffalo. It was
I mean, that's still kind of
some
badass.
it was some Division One club hockey. So
Division
yeah,
One
so
club hockey.
so it wasn't like quite the show, but it was like about as closest to the show or not. The show I mean like college actual college hockey.
Yeah,
I mean not even actual. That's the wrong terminology. Like all college hockey is college hockey, but I mean like sanctioned
I
NCAA
get it. I,
hockey.
I live in Maine, bro. That's the only fucking
It's the
sport we
only
have
thing you
going for
hear.
us, bro.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. You have
Yep. We always make it to at least Elite Eight for hockey.
yeah. Yeah. Your hockey team is insane.
Yep. That's
It's
really it. That's all we got. That's all we fucking got, bro.
yeah. So I did a lot of that, and I had a radio show actually. I did a sports radio show at like 6 a.m. every morning, or not every morning, every week.
You.
so so my day when I lived in Buffalo, went to the University of Buffalo, my Mondays would start at I would wake up at like 4:30 a.m. And then, of course, this is Buffalo, so the snow is absolutely outrageous. So
Yep.
half the time I'm walking through a blizzard, a couple miles across campus to get to the radio station at 6 a.m. to talk about sports for 2 hours. And I wouldn't have had it any other way. It was amazing. I loved it.
Yep. So, have you always lived in the wonderful state of New York?
Yes, I indeed have. I born and raised Central New York, a little outside of Syracuse. Lived in Buffalo. Went to the University of Buffalo, then lived in Buffalo for another like 3 years or so after going there for a bit. And
Okay.
yeah, I feel like I'm in the minority, but I really like New York. I do.
I don't mind New York to go visit, motherfucker, but I ain't gonna live there, bro. I ain't gonna live there. So what's your favorite single player game of all time? Because you play more like single player games, right?
I actually play more multiplayer. I'm not
Okay.
a single player game person,
All right.
but
Well, then give me one for each then. Single player and a multiplayer.
yeah. So single player, the game that will always have my heart, PlayStation 2, Dark Cloud. That game I played the absolute crap out of it. It was really popular at the time, not so much now. Like if you ask the majority of people right now what Dark Cloud is, they're not gonna know.
I
But
mean, I didn't even know what it was.
I mean, it's just a great kind of like fantasy RPG where you go through. I mean, it's kind of like a dungeon crawler, but
Okay.
you can also like build your own village. So you go through these dungeons and you rescue people. You kind of like gain buildings and you gain weapons and stuff.
Okay.
And then you go back to the village where you go into a village editor and then you can like put together, move around, create your own village, create roads and all that good stuff. And I absolutely love the crap out of the game. And they made a Dark Cloud 2 and it was absolutely horrendous. And it completely tanked the franchise. So thank you for that one, but
And
Dark Cloud 1, I'd recommend it.
and I'm gonna take a wild guess here. Overwatch.
Yeah, Overwatch, the original Overwatch, that was some great stuff, especially when I was in the scene a bit. I started just before uh oh my goodness, what was it called? It was a meta where basically you would run three tanks and three DPS.
So I
And
would have no use for my role. Cool.
yeah, pretty much because
'Cause,
tanks and shields were. I mean, they continued to be pretty overpowered, but at least they switched. Oh yeah, the goat meta. That's what they called it, the greatest of all time, because there was an amateur team called the Goats or something along those lines, and they pioneered this strategy and they won like multiple events with this strategy. So then pros adopted it. And then before you know it, metas are just three tanks versus three DPS, and it's like the most boring thing ever. But I still enjoyed it. I mean, it was as a tank player, I enjoyed
I bet you did. And then there's me over here who's a mercy man. Like, oh well, there goes my career.
it. Right. But
Right.
then they changed it with the roles, so then you had to have like two of each role, which I think was very good for the
I'm
competitive
like,
integrity of
well,
the game. But
there goes my career. We're retired because
right.
we're a bunch of scums. Um, Try to think here. Because I want to do a lot. I want a lot of this podcast to be more, what the scene can do
Mhm.
to help. So I'm trying to think which ones of these questions I actually. Oh, I mean, we have to do the Mount Rushmore of music because you definitely came into while I was jamming the
Ooh.
logic. So if you can only listen to four people for the rest of your life, what four are you picking?
I gotta pull up my Spotify. So
I literally was just about to say as he pulled up Spotify.
no, so the first one that I would bring up would probably be Avenged Sevenfold.
Okay.
They are a fantastic, well-rounded metal they kind of strayed a little bit from metal. They kind of like dipped their toes in multiple things, but they're really creative in their approach to metal, and it is absolutely awesome. I they're my favorite band hands down, and I think everybody should at least listen to some Avenged Sevenfold. I mean, everybody probably knows songs like especially if you played any sports game, like Beast and the Harlot, stuff like that. So
All
uh
right. So what he's saying is you all have to go and listen to Avenged Sevenfold. That's not Hail to the King.
that's not Hail to the King,
That's
correct?
not Hail to the King. You
Bro.
cop out fucks.
Yeah, exactly. Listen to like pre Hail to the King, or honestly even other songs in that album that are not Hail to the King.
Pretty much. That's pretty much what I was saying. Like,
Yeah, so I would start with Avenged Sevenfold. My next one, Eminem. I mean,
okay.
young goat. He's not young, but he's the young goat.
Still looks young, which is wild.
Yeah, honestly, and I think it's just his technical skill in rap and his lyricism is just absolutely unmatched. A pioneer of rap and hip hop. So I think, I mean, obviously, I mean, what else is there to say about Eminem that hasn't already been said? He's definitely up there on my Mount Rushmore of music. Uh, let's see. So next, as I am pulling up my Spotify, because I kind of listen to the same artists over and over. I'm not I don't like straying. I mean, I just guess I don't stray too much, but
What I'll do is I'll add like a smart shuffle to my uh
oh,
Spotify playlist, and like there's somebody I'm like hella banging with.
mhm.
I'll go on like a day just bender. Like this guy named Brandon Dot. His music's kind of it's kind of badass. I like it.
All right. I think the next one I would probably go with. See, I really like rap and hip hop, so I would go with the Beastie Boys. I love the Beastie Boys. Again, just so unique in their approach to rap and hip hop as a group. It's just I absolutely love listening to all their music. It's fantastic. And then my last one. See, this is where it gets tough because now I only got one spot left. I'm gonna go with an oldie but a goodie. Back in kind of the early to late two or mid to late 2000s. Bowling for Soup.
Oh, there you go.
I love Bowling for Soup, and I think they're once again like one of those like time staples. So, like if you go back in that time and you listen to like some of the most popular music and who was like really hot at the time, Bowling for Soup right at the top. And I think that's kind of they'll kind of be part of music that like music history for that kind of era.
I don't think I ever listened to them.
I they're my favorite band growing up. Them and Avenged Sevenfold.
All right,
Always listen to them.
so next one. We're gonna do two more, and then we're gonna let you kind of go on your informational rant. Um, both these are yoinked from people. One's from a podcast. One, Adam, aka Mentality, randomly messaged it to me when I was at work on Sunday, and it hurt my head. But the first one, would you rather know how you were gonna die or when you were gonna die?
Ooh, that's a really good question. That's a doozy.
There we go.
I guess I would probably rather how I would die.
You know what? Because you just picked the opposite of what Yuki did. I'm actually gonna start this on a fucking notepad
Mhm.
and like keep a tally going.
That's a good idea. Yeah. Yeah, I think I would rather how I would die because I think if I knew when I was gonna die, I would like at least the type of person I am, I would get so worked up and I would just I wouldn't be able to live the rest of my life appropriately if I knew like, oh, in X amount of time I'm just
Oh,
gonna die. I
so
wouldn't be
like
able to. I'm just not that type of person.
I can't really pick, but like I know me, if I knew when, motherfucker, I'm gonna max out a couple credit cards. We're going to fucking Miami, and I'm just gonna die. Like fuck it, fuck it. Um,
That's a good point. Yeah.
the other one, no, see that one's actually from my bodybuilding podcast that I listen to. This one is Adam's off the wall question, which I might post as the Thieves Wednesday tweet. So, if you had to get chased down by either a horny gorilla
Okay.
or a horny bear, which one are you picking?
I think it's bear, no question, honestly. I think gorillas have this could be pure speculation, but I think they have much larger dicks.
True.
So it would I feel like that'd be a lot more painful.
The
And then also like gorillas, they can also they have the ability to like kind of like squeeze you, I guess, and just kind of like crush you, whereas bears
oh wait,
like
hold on. I forgot one part of this because I had to ask him this. What kind of terrain was what I asked him, and he said it's a flat land with no cover.
flatland. I would still go with
Well, yeah,
bear,
I
no
just
problem.
happened. I
Yeah.
was like, ah, shit, I forgot to add that part in there.
Yeah,
Fun
yeah.
fact: I looked it up. Not the size of their dicks, but because I was thinking like, all right, who could I possibly in short bursts outrun? Did you know a bear runs at 30 miles an hour?
Whew.
I was
Oh
like,
my
holy
wow.
fuck. And a gorilla's not that far behind, which is wild because they do that weird little like,
Like gallop type.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's at 25 miles an hour.
Those are some fast
I was
animals, dude.
like,
Not
what?
outrunning either of those.
Like, I kind of figured that the bear was gonna be kind of fast because let's be honest, they are on all fours like almost all the time.
Mhm.
So I was like, ah, okay, it was a little faster than I thought it was gonna be. But then I was like, okay, cool. Let's look up the gorilla. I'm thinking like 15 miles an hour. I'm like, I might be able to like adrenaline pump in. I might be able to pull like a fucking like DK Metcalf and fucking like hit like 22 miles an hour like once in my life to get away from a horny gorilla. And then it said 25 miles an hour, and I'm like, shit. And then I forget what he picked, but then like I was like, see, but like you gotta think which one could you might be able to fight to the death.
Right. Okay.
I'm like, I don't think you're fighting a bear to the death.
I don't think I'm fighting either of them to the death. I think I'm just dying.
I think you
I think I'm just dead.
because my logic was thinking like the gorilla might just like toss your ass and think you're dead.
Okay.
And maybe you could fuck him up. A bear's just gonna claw the shit out of you, bro.
Yeah. Yeah. Bear.
But
Yeah.
yeah, like
Yeah.
there's no winning that fight regardless.
Yeah.
A gorilla, you probably still don't have good odds winning, but
Right.
like there's not claws involved,
That's very true. That's a good point. That's
but
a
you're
very
still
good point.
losing. So now to the most important part. Where do you want to start this conversation? Let me go back to your tweet. Oh,
Yeah.
fun fact, by the way, I always type in Rarity first on Discord. It doesn't pop up, and I get so confused. I'm like, what do you mean? And me being me, I always think like, damn it, Rarity's mad at me now. Fuck. Like, what the fuck? And then I'm like, here, let's try Danny. And then I'm like, oh, okay.
Right? Yeah, yeah. My name in
All right,
Discord is just
so
yeah.
do you want to start on the state of casting?
Yeah, so I have a little notepad here to kind of keep me on track,
Okay.
but yeah, so the state of casting right now, it's not good. It's really not good. I mean, I what kind of inspired me to try and talk about this is I got a message recently from a pretty prominent amateur caster. I'm not going to say their name and for privacy reasons, but
Have I met said person?
you I'm not sure if you've met them, but you've most likely heard them.
Okay. I
I'm not
was
sure. I'm not sure if you've met them before, but uh, uh, they were saying, and this is one of the people that I would say look up to in the amateur scene and see a lot of their successes and see what they're doing. And they told me they're like there's not enough, I guess, just money in the scene where it's worth it to keep going. And they're like, I want to quit to become a content creator for my organization. And it absolutely blew my mind because I'm like, how is somebody this talented? And it seems like they have so much going on because they do casting for like college leagues, like full like on desk person in person broadcasts. Like they are and I'm just thinking like how it has to be bad if someone like this is just not is really thinking of quitting. And I know some of their contacts have also kind of made similar remarks and saying it's like there's just nothing, there's not much in it. It's starting to kind of dry up. And then Monte Crisco posted a tweet the other day saying I can pull it up here specifically, but they basically saying the state of casting is so bad right now and casters should get out while they can. Yeah, being caster is probably one of the worst jobs in esports right now. Rates are cut. You never receive any ownership of what you build. You have zero job security, and your voice becomes a soundtrack of a co-streamer who makes 10 times your money. Get out while you can. That is the tweet word for word. And that is so incredibly true. I mean, you never get ownership of what you build. This kind of leads into one of my points in that casting should be seen as more so a luxury or a service rather than an expectation. All these leagues, they want casters for their leagues and they know that casting is essential to their league, but nobody wants to like, I guess, like pay a price for it. They all just kind of expect it. They when they start a league, they're like, okay, somebody's gonna want to cast it.
I mean,
And
shit, like, I don't know if Rarity, you knew this, but I mean, I casted there for a bit in Rally.
oh, I didn't know that.
And shit sucks, bro.
Yeah.
Like,
And,
it sucks.
like like you're brought on to all of these leagues to kind of be like, you know, that talking face of the league. You're gonna be the first person they see when they turn on that stream and the last thing they see when they turn off that stream.
Yeah.
You are supposed to be representing that league. And I mean, like this tweet says, you don't get any ownership. You hardly get any like actual credit for starting to build up those leagues and stuff like that. So I think in that sense, it's just like that alone is a big deterrent for a lot of like up and coming casters or people who want to become casters, is that you just don't get the credit sometimes and you just kind of got to deal with it. I mean, and that's the biggest thing. You just kind of got to deal with it because that's just how it is right now. And it's not only a problem that leagues have and that they're not either not willing to or not able to or don't know how to compensate for that type of stuff without money. I mean, there are ways like, especially like content is
Yeah.
a huge way to really compensate creators. I would consider a caster a creator
Oh, yeah.
for their work.
Well, yeah, that's
And
why I
yeah,
loved, not to cut you off, but that's why I loved a lot of your You went for respawn, right? Or wait, are you with respawn?
No, I'm not with them, but I went for respawn
Okay,
recruits.
that's why I loved most of yours was like casting stuff, which was dope.
Hmm.
Like, let's go. Like, let's go. I was ready.
Yeah. I think that's a route that a lot of people should take. I actually have that on my notepad here is respawn recruits and just other content competitions. Like I know Glitch just did one not too long ago, Glitch Energy. They did like a I think they called it a Glitch 30 or something like that, where they had a creator competition. I think more casters should try to expand their vision. So a lot of people think broadcasting is just as simple as, getting behind the mic, talking, and then you're done. I think it should be expanded to kind of increase that sort of job security and to create a backup plan for if something does fall through. So I think getting involved in content, like I want to give a shout out to Rich because every single day he posts either it's a YouTube short or a TikTok on all of his socials every single day. Man is on the grind. And that's something that a lot of casters just aren't doing right now. And I think it helps create a big world. And this also ties into another kind of thing I have up here is casters being picked up for organizations because a lot of casters before even this last year were just completely kind of freelance solo dolo type of thing. The security and support an organization can give you as a caster, it can
Yeah.
be absolutely priceless. And I found that out with NGNL. I found that out with the Philadelphia Warhawks. I found out with I mean even a bunch of my casting friends, the
I mean,
extra
like
support that
even
an
shit with us
organization
there
gives
for a
you.
bit until I realized how fucking stacked your schedule was. I just gave up asking you if you wanted to come cast for the Thieves scene for a fucking
Yeah.
scrim just to get, because I mean, like you know me, like I probably
Mm-hmm.
would just let you have the VOD just to fucking have it for your own shit. Like I mean, it helps us both. Like we, there was a couple nights that we possibly would need a codcaster, and then that gives you some
Mm-hmm.
extra film for when you do like a highlight reel casting, and then I realized how busy of a person you were with how many gigs. I'm like, I'm done messaging him and asking because like he too busy.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
one of
Uh,
my biggest things I think you've done well. This is where I'm gonna, give you your own flowers. Yeah, you cast for a lot of leagues,
oh yeah.
but anybody says your name and they instantly know what league is your main league, and that's the
Mm-hmm.
FPC. I think that's honestly what makes you probably the best caster in the FPC personally, because like that's your. We all know once the FPC season starts, Rarity's blocked for at least 1 to 2 games on a Tuesday,
Mm-hmm.
1 to 2 games on a Thursday. Because I mean, now you've grown a bond with most of the returning faces. So I mean,
Mm-hmm.
not saying you don't give the same energy in every league, but I feel like you get that little extra at your home.
Yeah.
But
I, yeah.
I just think Cat, this is just you could say I'm faded after, and you can if you want. I think casters should pick some main league as like their quote unquote. I could turn on. It's kind of like you know, you turn on Thursday night football, and that desk at the beginning is the same 4 people
Mm-hmm.
every week. So if you, which it would have to be leagues that have a more strict schedule.
Right.
I say strict as me and you were shooting the shit before this began. That the Thieves had like 9 matches get pushed up, but hey, at least they were always on a Thursday, on a Tuesday and a Thursday.
Right. Right.
So I personally think that's a major thing that could help just you all get more eyes per se. Is like, hey, I know that there's like a 85% chance I turn on, let's say, the control league on a given week after. But this also goes to your point saying that leagues need to treat casters as a real member of their staff.
Mm-hmm.
So then, like, they could announce. I'll just use Rich as an example because you gave him his fucking props earlier. Let's say like Control, that league ran by Slurp, announced, Rich as one of their main casters. I'm like, cool, bet. So their Monday, Wednesday streams. I could pull that up and I'm like, I have like a 85% chance I'm gonna
Mhm.
see Big Rich. And then, if he happened to, not be there that one week, I'm like, damn, I guess I'm tuning in on Wednesday. You know,
Mm.
but what's your next point you got?
No, I mean, I completely agree with that. I think that's a fantastic thing to bring up. I mean, because I
Like,
mean, you
I'm
see
not
it.
saying, just to clarify, you actually get what I'm saying, but
Yeah.
just before people say, they shouldn't limit themselves. I'm not saying limit themselves, but have, all right, cool. I'm gonna have, like I said, I casted some. Shit's draining.
Yeah.
So like have like, Thursdays off, and then if you have a reoccurring like Monday, Friday, Saturday, then you can pick up a few random gigs on like Tuesday, Wednesday.
Mhm.
So kind of like pick up other shit, but make sure you have like a home base per se. But
Yeah, I completely agree. Like in regards to like being able to grow as a caster, I mean, you kind of nailed it right on the head. Having that recognizability and that dependability on one program. I mean, this goes with kind of, I mean, anything career wise. I mean, if you stick with one thing long enough, then you just kind of become a staple of it.
yeah,
I mean, this goes with like orgs too. I mean, creators. That's why people who like hop orgs a lot just aren't successful
yeah,
because there's just no real like recognizability in what they're doing. They don't really have an identity because their identity switches every time they go to a new team and they have to adhere by new rules and meet new people, collab with new like it can be a giant mess. So you just like a big thing is if you want like consistency, is to stick with one thing and just roll with it. And that's kind of what I'm doing with the FPC. I mean, like I have all my other leagues that I do, and a lot of them are really great, but the FPC, it's just consistent. Like you get that consistent schedule, which is awesome. You get that consistent staff. You get just consistent,
oh
just
yeah,
gigs in general. As just consistency.
I could almost not load the FPC stream on a Tuesday, and I could almost predict who's working. We got Pirate behind the scenes. Um, okay, let's say if it's all right, let's say by some work of God, all 8 teams that are playing on that Thursday are actually playing on that day. Um,
Right.
I'm like, okay, we might get a fiddle in one, even if the Tsunami Girls are playing. We'll get a Dani for two, big Rich for maybe two. And then if you tap out, then we'll have a vid and maybe a buns.
Mm-hmm.
And that's almost like clockwork, like
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's a great thing to have, not only just like for consistency in our lives, but for the viewers. I mean, the fact that you can name pretty much everybody who works in the staff just goes to show how great of a job they're doing in that aspect. I
and
mean,
and I've only been here 1 year,
right,
by the way.
exactly. Yeah, it's really one of the beautiful things about the FBC is that like as far as staff wise, it's our brand and what we're doing is as recognizable as any of the other high budget leagues. I mean, you look at the Women X COD, you know who's going to be on there. You know, like it's going to be the We Are Clutch kind of casters because that whole group does that. They do challengers,
Yeah.
and with COD, you already know all the casters who do the CDL,
Well,
and
apparently we don't, because they decided not to renew some European people. But hey,
but but I mean the point is, what it doesn't take a high budget to build
No,
consistency, to build loyalty
and
to whatever
genuine.
league. Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
I'm pretty sure everybody was the same in Fort Collins as they are on the street. Actually, you're more quiet in person,
Yeah.
but I think Buns was still grumpy Buns. Um, Fiddle was just fucking Page.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, Vid doesn't count because she was stressed that
Yeah,
whole
oh, yeah.
weekend.
Oh yeah,
So
she
that
was
one
just
just
stressed. Yeah.
doesn't count. Pirate wasn't there. Legacini was the same. Yeah. So I mean that's another big
Mhm.
thing. Like if you end up pulling up to a land of cast, you better either be really good at faking what you fake or be the same caster online as you want to be in person. I mean, shit, Big
Mhm.
Rich was rocking his shades even when he wasn't casting.
Uh, oh yeah, yeah. Rich is an absolute treasure.
Dude, I love him. I
I
was
love him to death.
I was so sad. I texted him on Twitter when I saw the lineup for the cast off.
Mhm.
I almost shedded a tear when he was like, "Nah, bro, I'm casting from my bedroom." I'm like, "Why? I wanted you here. What are you
Mhm.
doing, bro?"
I mean, I offered to make the trip to Columbus,
You
but
could have
I didn't
slept
get
on the
accepted.
couch in my room.
I I didn't get accepted, unfortunately. But
I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna have to have some talks.
but I mean, regardless, Rich is incredible.
Oh yeah.
Love the absolute hell out of Rich, and
So
yeah.
let's go to. Did you touch on what you think leagues can do?
I've not, but I
Okay.
mean, I think it starts with being able to build that loyalty. So I think a lot of, like, especially startup leagues, they I mean, I've mentioned it before, they can't offer like financial compensation because they just started. So you have to build that loyalty. You have to find a way to either make content involving your casters, post it everywhere, give them recognizability rather than monetary gains, and then kind of, I guess, kind of roll from there, because the big thing that a lot of leagues don't have is consistency.
See,
So
I think you're mostly right on that monetary value thing, but I'm sorry if you don't have $10 in your fucking Cash App or your PayPal to send your caster who is about to cast 4 matches that night to go get themselves some fucking Starbucks or a couple rains or something before their cast, then you might want to reevaluate if you should be running a league.
no, I literally, one of my points here is nobody wants to cast for your 10 AAV copy paste league for free.
Yeah. Even if it's
Nobody wants to do it.
even if they know, like, cool. If I pick up, I'll just use the FPC for example. If I was casting for the FPC Tuesday, Thursday, and everybody knows that I work weird hours at my day job, and if any member from Legacy to Vid, I won't say Pirate because he's Canadian, uh, but like Buns, if I knew that somebody was just even gonna sauce me fucking $10 to pick up my fucking 5-shot espresso latte from fucking Starbucks because that's all they can really afford, like twice a week. I'm like, cool, bro. That's like $16 that they didn't have to pay me for my coffee. Cool, bet. Let's
So
fucking run it up.
the cool thing that the FPC does, that honestly a lot of leagues can't do this because they I guess they don't really have, they aren't as lucky as we are with the FPC. But what the FPC does is it's kind of crowdfunded. So we mention it sometimes on stream, but the only money the staff makes is from subs, is from bits, is from ads. And that's kind of a good thing in a sense, because I mean, you don't, the bad thing is you don't know how much you're being
Yeah.
paid every month, but the good thing is that it just, it kind of helps you motivate you to put on a good show.
Yeah.
Because if you're putting on a good show, people are going to want to kind of help compensate you. And that on top of the FPC being so reliable, bringing out content, getting such great viewership, it's just a combination where it just kind of works, and people just want to kind of stay with the FPC. I mean, everybody on the FPC staff has been with the FPC staff for a while, and they all absolutely love it. So I think that's one thing that the FPC does that other bigger leagues should be able to do. I think the COD Rec League also does something kind of similar. I know some casters I know the majority of their casters are freelance, and I don't think they pay them because it is a rec league, so they're not really, they don't like profit anything really. So I could be wrong on that, but I remember I tried to go with them once. But anyways, the FPC has that luxury where they can do that to help compensate. But these smaller leagues, I'm going to specifically bring up a league that I think does something really smart that I haven't seen any other league do. The Skyline League, for to get into the league, you have the option. You can either pay your $60 normal fee for their prize, for a chance at their prize pool like any other league, or I mean, in addition to that, they have the option for you to pay an extra $30 or $40 as a caster fee and get all your games casted. And that caster fee goes 100% towards the caster. They don't take any of it. So I like that because it treats casting as it should be, as a service or as a luxury, guarantees compensation for the caster, and it gives orgs the option, whether they can afford it or not, to get that notoriety, to get that kind of coverage. And it's just, I think it's just a win-win all around. And teams who, I mean, you're not making any false promises by saying, oh, this many matches are going to be casted. You're literally giving the orgs the option to be covered. And I think that is really smart. And I've loved it with them so far. The staff has been absolutely awesome. And I think that system works really well. But with that system comes extra responsibility, because with that I get paid up front. And if I'm not able to do it, I have to find a replacement caster myself, which, I mean, the
So
trade-off is great, but I
my
think
biggest gripe, and I'll be honest, I've told them no all no, all whatever. They're already in their. Oh no,
this is the end of the second. Yeah.
yeah. Me personally, because you know me, I want shit casted.
Yeah.
A 4-week season is not worth $80 to me when I view it. But this goes back to, I love how we're giving the FBC probably the utmost gas this whole fucking podcast, but fuck it. I pay 150, I think.
Yeah,
Don't
so
quote me
somewhere
on
around there.
that. For like, what is it, like a 15 weeks season?
I think last season was 16. It
16.
was
Oh yeah,
16
because there was,
plus playoffs,
yeah,
which was another like 2 weeks.
we missed playoffs, so thanks
Right.
for rubbing that salt my wound. Thanks. But 16 weeks for $150. That's, for me. I mean, me and you have had our talks, and if you didn't notice, I took what you said completely to heart. If you didn't notice, after the AAWL were going online for like a year and a half or so. But for me, like that $80, season's not long enough, bro. I actually went to my Twitter to find the graphic. Um, that's my only gripe, which I think is dope that goes right to you all. I'm not saying they're not doing it right, but maybe that season needs to be longer.
Right. Yeah, from your perspective, I completely agree with that.
Even if you just make it like, hey, let's say, I'll just say 5 teams buy into the $30 one. an 8-week season, 2 games a week, casted. Did I say 5 teams? Was that what I said?
Yeah,
I don't think asking casters if they're making how do you know how many casters they normally have on board?
for the Skyline League.
Yeah.
It depends on how many people buy in. So buy in
Okay.
for the casting. So right now, I'm the only caster covering 2 teams.
Okay. So let's say I'll say four. There's four casters. The split like 50 no 50, 150. So five casters. We'll just make it nice and easy. I don't think that's unreasonable to it to be 10 matches total between five casters. And for like an 8-week season, I could spend that 80. And be like, ah, cool. If I'm getting eight or so matches casted for my team during that time, I cool bet. Or more, a couple more, that would be dope. But yeah, no, I like what they're doing over there for the most part. I follow the Skyline tournament division. I don't actually think I follow the actual Skyline org. No, I don't. Um well fuck it, we ball. So that's dope. That's something leagues could do. And that doesn't take any extra effort from them.
No, not at all. I think that's a big thing. It doesn't cost them anything, and it doesn't take any extra
Yeah,
effort. All it does is guarantee that the people who work for you will work for you as far as casting goes, and it makes the casters happy because they're getting paid.
yeah,
And I think it's just all around just a win-win. But like you said, it whether from an org owner perspective if that's worth it is a whole other complete
yeah.
discussion.
Oh yeah.
But as far as like upfront, like as from a caster perspective, it's great. I love it.
So what's your next point on what leagues can do home slice?
uh Another thing is that if you can't provide that consistency, or or like what the SCL does, kind of like a smaller league, you should be allowing the casters to kind of, I guess, be freelance and let them charge what they want rather than locking them down to
Yeah,
cast for you for free. So a league I can bring up in this example is the XP League. So they have like something outrageous like 64 teams in their league. There's no way they're going to get casters to cover those matches. So what they do, and the ZGL does this as well. ZGL is a zoned out gaming league, is that they set it up so they have a channel for basically people to request casters,
yeah,
and then either they can contact casters or casters can contact people and give them their rates to be casted.
yeah,
So then it's another way to guarantee that your casters kind of get an appropriate amount of compensation that they see fit. So I think that's another really good thing, in that you're not locking them down to a season, and you're not either giving them an unknown price or telling them that it's for free for your
yeah.
10 AAV league. So I think that's another thing, that if you're not going to give like some sort of payment, or you can't afford it, or you're not running a caster's fee, letting the casters kind of take control of that, put it into their own hands, let them charge what they want and do what they want, giving them a lot more freedom and flexibility with their schedule and payment they may receive. I think that's just about the next best thing you could do, because not to mention XP League, they don't even have like a Twitch channel or like a Kick
No,
channel or anything.
no.
They let all the casters broadcast on their own channels, which is absolutely awesome because it helps you build your own brand. And Graph is one of the like main faces of the XP League, because one, he's incredible at what he does. Two, he sometimes he charges, but mainly he chooses to do it for free.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's his choice. And he takes that and runs with it because he's building his own brand on his own channel for it.
Oh yeah, and he
And
loves
yeah,
doing it. Like,
he loves it. Yeah.
I got behind the scenes obviously with at the PC land, you would think that man was in a candy store. He was having fun.
Dude,
That man was having so much fun. I was like, yes, I love this man.
yeah, he is such a happy person, or he comes off as such a happy,
Oh
and
yeah.
he loves casting more than anything. And I think giving somebody the flexibility to build up their own brand and even maybe take some money off of it as well is also a really good idea. But I think the worst thing leagues do is they'll start up a league, they'll promise casting, and then before you know it, 2 hours before the match, they're messaging 10 different casters like, "Hey, can you cast for me? Hey, can you cast for me? Hey, can you cast for me?" And it's just no good for anybody. And the
No.
caster doesn't get anything out of it, and the league barely gets anything out of it because you're getting miserable casters, and it's just a mess. But the thing is, that's how the majority of leagues operate. That's how the majority of leagues operate. They just, like I mentioned it before, they take it as an expectancy.
I'm just gonna say this now. If anybody makes Rarity miserable because they're messaging them 20 minutes before casting, I will DDoS your fucking matches. Leave this goat alone, you fucks.
There have been multiple leagues. I love you, dude. Uh, I'm not obviously not going to name them, but there have been multiple leagues that I refuse to do because one, I know I'm not going to be compensated. Two, I know they want me to put in a lot of effort, or
Unless
either a lot of effort or more effort than it should take.
unless he happens to load the docket of the matches and he sees Infamous Thieves, then Rarity be like, oh
Then
fuck.
I'm like, I
Damn
gotta
it.
do it.
Damn it, Mike.
Exactly.
Fucking asshole. You just
You
had
got
to
me.
be
You got
you
me. You
just had
suckered
to
me.
you just had to be on the docket. Fuck. But no, but like that touches on like this is where I'm gonna go to lands for a second. Um, and this is touching on not what the actual lands can do for you guys, more from the orgs in general. I'm not saying people have to ball out as much as, me and Hezzy did for you and Karaf, but like this goes back to kind of my point about the fucking Starbucks thing.
Mhm.
I'm pretty sure, don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure Cheeto pretty much is paying for the non-game arena employees stuff that whole weekend. And then, we took you and Raph out to dinner, but it don't need to be that wild. But like, let's be honest. You don't have to tell me. I mean, I know how much Hezzy threw at paying you guys, but we're not going to talk about that. Um, I can promise you, and you can tell me I'm a liar here. You're not making your money back going to Austin in
No,
January.
I'm not.
Yeah, I was about to
I'm
say because
yeah.
I roughly know how much a flight is because I was looking. And obviously you get to leave out of wait, where do you fly out of? Is it Kawadia?
Out of Syracuse. I fly out
Okay,
of Syracuse.
so you also fly out of a kind of small airport.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So, and I don't live that far north of you.
Right.
Yes, I live a couple states over, but New Hampshire and Vermont count as like one state.
Right.
So our flights probably would have been right around the same.
Yeah.
So, like I said, I'm not saying orgs have to fucking take you out to dinner and shit, but like, appreciate the shit out of y'all. Like, buy the man a fucking coffee. Shit. If you don't know what they fucking drink, buy them a fucking gift card.
uh,
Obviously look up what's there, because up here I can send you a Dunkin' card and know you're gonna use it.
oh,
You go to, Fort Collins, for example.
yeah.
If somebody hands you a Dunkin' gift card there, you can't use that bitch till you get home. I was struggling looking for coffee that was not Starbucks, but I'm like, well, get the fucking
Right.
drink at Starbucks, bro. What the fuck? Well, what's your next point on your list?
uh uh I guess the kind of the last thing I have on here is just, I mean, you literally just said it, but like tip your casters,
Yeah,
like appreciate your casters. A lot of them, and I mean, especially like obviously, I'm only speaking from the amateur scene
yeah,
here, but a lot of them work for very little or for free,
yeah.
if not 90% of the time for free. A lot of leagues just are not paying, or if they do pay, it's very, very little. So, I mean, appreciate your casters. Uh, you know, if you're going to a land, I mean, even like a water. I mean,
Yeah.
we drink waters like motherfuckers. I mean,
Well,
water's fantastic, but
actually, in Fort Collins, there was a lot of G Fuel.
it was a lot. It was a lot of G Fuel in Fort Collins.
Oh,
They had a stacked fridge,
oh
and they
my
let us have them
God.
for free.
So
They
this
let
is
us
a
have them for free.
this is a tangent, okay? So flipping during Championship Sunday during that Gamers Club, it wasn't finals. It was whoever they faced before. So Flippin was drunk. Like hella, no, not hella drunk, but he was tipsy. He was mentioning like, so I heard you got an organ shit. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I thought he was just drunk talking, okay? I
Mhm.
didn't know that he competes, like
Oh yeah.
competes, okay? They were in our pool A at 8 a.m. at Columbus. They sit across from us. And I walk up to him, I'm like, bro, you should have fucking told me you were fucking serious. You probably could have been in a Thieves jersey, motherfucker. Like, I'm sorry, bro. But yeah, no, I was just like, what the fuck, bro?
Yeah, right, right.
But yeah, bro, like, yeah, dude, a water, fucking a, okay, maybe not a bag of chips, but yeah, dude, a water, fucking something, fucking
Oh,
see what's around that area, you know?
mhm.
I can
I,
almost say if there's a Canes in the area, go buy that man a box of Canes. He ain't gonna say
oh
no.
my goodness.
He ain't gonna say no, motherfucker.
uh yeah, especially living in the north, like there's
Yeah,
no
we don't have shit
canes,
like
we
that,
don't have
bro.
canes.
We don't
So
have shit like that, bro.
when I go down there, I'm eating as much canes as I humanly can. I love canes. But I mean, regardless though, like I think casters should open themselves up more for things like tipping or commission based work.
Yeah,
And I think people should be more willing to treat casters like that. I mean, obviously, the service industry gets a terrible rep for how they treat people, but at least the majority of the service industry, like I don't know, you can like there are people who will like throw you a tip or they'll throw you a gift card
yeah.
or things like that because they know that, like especially like you think like waiters. I mean, I'm not comparing. I don't want to compare casters like waiters and waitresses, but I mean, you see, they get very little compensation,
Oh yeah,
but they get they have that option for tips and to get kind of made up like that. And so I think casters should kind of open themselves up to more like that. And it's not just a thing with people or just orgs. I mean, it's an issue within casters as well because the way we've been brought into the scene is with the expectation that we'll work for free
yeah,
unless it's like some sort of huge massive event. It's just the expectation, and it's in the casting culture right now, and that's something that needs to change within casters as well. We need to demand more for our work. We need to just recognize the type of effort and skill it takes to do what we do, and not expect it to go lightly. We need to at the very least content, man. Like content is one of the most simplest forms of flattery, of compensation you can
yeah.
do, and it doesn't cost, it doesn't even have to cost anything. Just give something to your casters.
What? I canceled my game. What? So I'm gonna crunch some numbers here.
Mhm.
I'll split the difference between the one league and the FPC at 150. So let's say What's the average leagues that you're casting? Like the number of teams, like 8,
Uh, probably closer to 16. That's
16.
probably
All right.
that's probably about the average number of teams.
So
12 to
we'll
16.
say 12
Okay.
for the memes. Um, so I did $100 buy-in just so people know. I can. This is from me as an org owner. I'm gonna roll the dice and gamble and say that Anthony, who I mean, if anybody doesn't know him by now,
Mhm.
you live under a fucking rock.
Mhm.
He's one of the owners of Sway. I'll throw Saint in here. Um, again, unless you live under a fucking rock. If you would say if a league hit us up, we'll say also like I did 12 teams. So yeah, 12-week season. Each team has like 2 matches a week, 24, yada 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 yada. As of now, let me see if I can get this stuff. Yeah, so $1,200 of fees. Okay, let's say times 0.15. If you told me, hey, so the prize pool is going to be 85% of all buy-ins because we're sending like 15% to our casters. Again, this is kind of like piggybacking off of what Skyline does
Mhm.
with their league. If you told me that we're getting 2 matches a week casted for a 12-week season and the prize pool is only being reduced by $180. Because most leagues, let's be honest, if most leagues are keeping any of the money, they're a bunch of fucking scumbags. Let's just kind of add that part in there. Um, and then, you split that between your casters. Shit, I think depending on who the league is, they might even be fine with the prize pool being reduced even a little more.
Yeah.
Quote unquote, the FPC league. It's like, hey, so we're changing stuff. The prize pool is going to be 75-80% of buy-ins. So, we can show some love to Rarity and we won't count Fiddle because she competes. But like between you, Big Rich, Graph, I guess Buns, I guess. I don't think anybody's gonna really bitch. And if
Uh,
they are, then they need to find a different league to compete in because I don't want to deal with that shit.
because
Um,
I think that that's a great point that you bring up though is that a lot of leagues they'll either operate on that 95% to like 100% sort of payout,
yeah,
but I think that's a great point that some leagues could literally just take like an extra 5 to 10% aside and pay their casters, and not only
because
will
if you
that
and then
it'll
also
give.
because if you do your Twitch or your Kick,
Mhm.
you're gonna get subs. I can guarantee it.
Oh yeah.
Um, or donations, which that means you're probably gonna end up making that money back anyways. Minus, in the FPC case, they just divvy that up,
Mhm.
however that's how they do. Um, but still, even if you don't divvy that up, and you make that very clear, not fucking, oh, well, you wait for a caster to ask, so what about them subs and shit? If you're just like flat out like, all right, so you're making $75 for your split of, this was how many teams bought in, yada 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 yada. You better go, okay, cool.
Mhm.
Better than, full payout. Because the thing is, that also makes it easier for us to tweet out. This is from the org standpoint, All right, cool. 8 p.m.
Content.
on again, I love how all the gas is going to the FPC. This is fucking phenomenal.
They just do so many things right, man.
8 p.m. EST. A Thieves verse I guess I'll use my boy at fucking Skyrisers. You know, thieves versus fucking versus some Skyrisers. 8 p.m. FPC official. Alright, cool. You know, people gonna pull up because there's casters as well.
Mhm.
You know, but so do you think there's anything orgs can do better to help you all?
The thing orgs can do is, I guess, I guess it is ask more questions. I mean, because a lot of orgs will just kind of buy into, will just go into a league, no questions asked, or they'll have that expectation. That expectation is the big word. The expectation that they are going to be casted. When I think they what they could do is I guess just ask more questions about this, about not even just the casters but the staff in general. Be like, okay, how is this being handled? How is this being handled? Get curious, get involved, because and that's another thing that's going to make you better as an organization. And that's what a lot of these orgs that are picking up casters do, is they ask those questions to those leagues, like, okay, how are, like what is going on with these,
Yeah.
with the staff, with the admins, with the producer, with the casters, and then what they'll do is if somebody's not being compensated correctly, they'll reach out to them and be like, hey, you should
Yeah.
join us because we'll do this for you. And that's an amazing recruiting tool for orgs. Looks so good on the orgs.
So,
And
Rarity, how much to make you become the INF official caster? No, I'm
well, so I do want to give a shout out to NGNL though. They picked me up recently, and for the Austin land, they're going to be setting out some videographers and some photographers
Yep,
for you fella.
I don't think I think I rubbed the AWL the wrong way.
No, no.
Well, no, so they reached out. So this is where genuineness and not being an ass wipe gets you a lot further than people realize. And I'm not saying who they picked as the photographer for the land is an ass wipe. The first words out of my mouth was, "Is it typical T?" When they came to me like, "Hey, so like, there's this add-on, yada 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 yada, for a photographer." Literally the first words out of my mouth was, "Is it typical T?" They said no. I flat out was like, "Well, I'm not interested then." I flat out watched this chick climb onto a ledge, which it was safe, by the way. It's like in between the PCs at the Columbus land, uh, to get better shots of one of the two teams she was shooting.
Love T.
And like, luckily she's short. T, I love you, but you're very short. Um, but like, yeah, no, she was monkeying her ass around. I'm fine with paying somebody like T. Like I said, I'm not saying this person's not, but like that just shows like 9 times, no, not even 9 times out of 10, 10 times out of 10. If they gave me a list of casters for my match, if Rarity is on that list, that's my first pick. I'm like, I want him. Well, somebody else already picked him. I don't give a fuck. I will flat up be like, well, you can ask Rarity who he wants to cast, and I can promise you, you might as well just slot him in for the future. Like
Yeah.
you might as well, bro. Like,
Yep.
unless it's like, there's very few orgs that I think if me, Sway, and Philly all picked you, I think you would just put us all in a hat and just be like,
Yeah. Yeah, you guys, like, I love all of you guys. I mean, you are absolutely right on that one. You guys are just absolutely
and
incredible.
this is where my little note on orgs: be more humble, and this isn't about casters in general. Um, and take your criticism to heart, but don't get pissed off about it. I flat out asked. So we went on this giant tangent about an org. I'll tell you who the org is after. Um, and just about just like them just being kind of fucking scummy and shit. I flat out asked Anthony in the ownership chat on Twitter with like me, Ignition, like the whole fucking
Mhm.
squad. And I asked Anthony like his honest opinion, like, oh, well, because he's like, I can only tell what orgs aren't gonna last, because
Oh yeah.
he's been in esports for fucking ever. I
Hmm.
flat out asked him what his thoughts on Thieves were, because I wanted to fucking know, and I know Anthony's not gonna tiptoe it. Uh, I mean, he was honest. Like that first season of us in the FPC and stuff, he was like, I didn't quite know, but the more I got to know like you and how you feel about Thieves, I was like, ah man, this man better fucking stay around. And but like I'm fine with the honesty. That's why like when me and you had our talk, because you know how down I was, man. I was
Yeah.
fucking I was ready. I'm like, fuck this. Um but you're like, no, well here, check out this, this, and this. I'm like, oh, okay. And then I'm like, ah, fuck it. We're doing a whole year of content, bro. Which I mean, we're gonna pick up teams for like certain leagues. Like, if I tried to not be in the FPC, I don't know who would be in my DMs first.
Right.
So I'd be like,
Right.
sir, what are
Excuse
you
me.
doing? Well, no, because like Sin City's not a thing anymore.
I know, it's so sad. Oh, I'm
Um,
so sad about that, man.
somehow Sway doesn't have a roster. Somehow, um, I think Philly has one.
Yeah, Philly has one.
Um, Decimate has one.
Yep, Decimate has one. Another one was just announced today.
I know. I literally just saw it too.
Pulsive.
Oh
Pulsive
no, then
announced
there's
it.
another one. I think. Wait, maybe it was the
Because
Pulse.
Pulsive also sent teams to the land, so I'm not surprised that they also got involved in
Oh no.
FPC.
Oh no. Okay, so that was the roster that I thought of.
Mm-hmm.
That roster is kind of.
Eh,
Oh, That's pretty much their land roster.
yeah, just about their land roster. And I do want to also just for teams looking to get into the female scene, like put an effort. Like you can't just tweet out and be like, we're looking for a team, message me, and expect people to
Hey,
message you.
watch it.
Like you have to be active in your search because there's a billion orgs that want to play in the female scene, but very few that actually want to put in that effort to find the right team for them.
Yeah.
That's what I've noticed in a lot of orgs that will like because like I also run in season at least I run the FPC Twitter account. So
Yeah, I know this.
I
So,
run in season. I run the FPC
so
Twitter
why
account.
hasn't there been more thieves gas on this fucking? What the fuck, bro?
No, but the amount of orgs that will message the account and just be like, and just be like, we can't find a team. We can't find a team. Can you help us find a team?
Wait,
It's
were
crazy.
you the one who reached out to us season one?
Uh,
Because I
I
feel
don't.
like it was the FPC Twitter first, and then Vid messaged me.
It's definitely possible. Definitely
I
possible.
don't remember that far back, but
I don't remember that entirely either, but I definitely I think at least one or two orgs I set up or I assisted with some players. I don't think I've set anybody up with a full team.
no, because Vid, maybe it was just Vid, just overall.
Yeah, I would say it's more likely her.
Because,
It was
well,
more
no,
likely
because
her,
like
but
well, no, because she was on that roster to start,
right. Yep.
and then so yeah, so maybe it might have just been Vid, and then this is I'm gonna piggyback off of what you said, and then we'll do like a outro because this definitely
Okay.
became just don't be a fucking scumbag in the FPC. But
Right.
any new this is gonna be very petty for a second. Um, if your new org minus like the likes of Decimate, if you think any of these girls who aren't new. So like the same, like the
Yep.
base 4 times 16. We'll just say
64.
cool, thanks. And then add like another. We'll just say it's 100 even. The 100-ish girls who were like the revolving door on certain rosters and shit.
Hmm.
They know the 16 orgs that were there last year. Well, 15 now that Sin City closed. Um, if you don't think that they're going to at least field talks with those rosters first, well, those orgs first, you're drunk.
Hmm.
Like, or at least now the girls are. I mean, I'm not saying that they're not smart in general, but most of these girls haven't dealt with orgs.
Hmm.
Um, Now they're starting to realize that some orgs use them as a fucking hey,
Yep.
we're in the female only league.
Exactly. Like, we're in
Uh
the female league. Look at us being so cool.
I would set this just shows the dedication some of these orgs need to have. You remember that Thieves Ogre Girls match at started at like 11 p.m. Okay? That was when I was still on the 4:30 shift at my work. I set a fucking alarm for 9:45 p.m. knowing I was gonna come home, fall asleep during that first match of the FPC just because I watch it in bed. Like I just cast it right to my TV for the most part, unless I'm doing a watch party, which now I have to find somebody else to do collab watch parties with because Sin City had to fucking close. But put in the real effort, bro. If you're not tweeting, and this goes for actually a lot of orgs that are in the F who were in the FPC last season. You could quote me on this, I could be wrong. I'm pretty sure we can almost count it on one hand who was tweeting out game day graphics. Us.
Yeah.
I know that because I made them all in one night, by the way. That's why whenever a team dropped out, I'm over here like this. Because I'm like, cool, sick. I just spent fucking 5 hours. Like, I literally did that. As soon as Vid dropped the folder with all 15 logos, I literally made
Mhm.
all 15 the game day fucking graphics in one sitting. And it's like, oh, well, so and so dropped out. I'm like,
Mhm.
oh, so and so left. Here's the new logo. Now, the win loss thing, let's be honest. For the most part, I was running the Thieves Twitter when it comes to stuff like that. Even if you tweet it like the next morning, put in the real effort. Just view them as players, bro. Like, cool. They're female. Dope. Whatever. Cool. Um, but so orgs, you kind of said, sign some casters, which I might need to hit up Big Rich, man.
For real, dude.
Because
Yeah.
I can't afford you. You're fucking expensive. Fucking Mr. Moneybags over here. Holy fuck.
Yeah, yeah. This, yeah, money bags.
Holy fuck. As we all saw your tweet saying you had to wait to see what the last check was if you were booking a ticket to Austin, but hey, Mr. Moneybags over here.
Yeah, yep. I'm loaded, loaded. I'm rolling in it.
I
I'm
could.
rolling in it.
So what's the background on your?
This is actually my logo. My my it's backwards, I think. I don't know if it's backwards for you or not, but it's an R and a 4 with a little crown on it.
It's definitely backwards.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
Um,
yeah, that's my logo. That I've had it for 3-4 years now. I just don't have it
I
out as much as I should.
I need that on a shirt. Sent sent me ASAP. But did you touch on all your notes on your sheet?
I I did touch on all
Okay.
my notes.
I wanted to, like I said, we were gonna zip through a couple of the normal 1v1 questions, but I wanted to make the majority of this about what leagues and orgs need to do. Oh, one thing I think. If you know who's casting, and I'm taking this as I gotta do this shit too. Because this is just dawned on me. If you know who's more than likely gonna be casting your match, and hey, just fucking ask.
Mhm.
Add them to your fucking like us. We were one of the few orgs who were tweeting out actual maps and modes. Um, Add it to the fucking bottom of the
Yep.
tweet. Be like
Mhm.
casted by Rarity and Big Rich, and like I said, I'm taking that one as a fucking slap to my face too, because I apparently I just now thought of that as we're burning the almost midnight oil here.
Mhm.
Um, that's also something. Dude,
Yes.
just tag.
It's a little thing.
Yeah, even if you end up realizing after, like you're okay, maybe not on your hey, we lost this series 3-0 and we got piss slammed.
You're
But
right.
do it like the next day, like, hey, and huge thanks to so and so and so and so. Um, so after the land rarity, what is your plans? You ready? Probably taking another week or so off, maybe, and then get ready for the FPC.
That's probably exactly it, honestly. Because that land it's going to be a 3-day land. It's going to be an absolute grueler, but I'm astronomically excited for it. But
Dude, it's fun. Um, but rarity, thank you for the emergency 1v1. Even though I
absolutely.
just posted one today. But hey, fuck it, we ball. I wanted to get this out as soon as I can because hey, let's be honest. Now that we're like the first full round of GAs is out. Well, first like 4 rounds of GAs because this game is fucking obnoxious. Um, Maps and modes are picked. Now leagues are kind of starting. So like, I was like, alright, fuck it, we gotta get this done quick. Get this out. Um, so you can retweet it. I can retweet it. Yada 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 yada.
Mhm.
But Rarity, thank you for your time. I'm hoping to see you cast a lot of FBC Thieves matches, and maybe I'll hit you up for some freelance nonsense. Um, but I think that's all I got, buddy.
All right, yeah, I appreciate you having me, man. It
Cool,
was a
bro.
really good conversation.
Oh, it's always a good conversation. We got to get eventually when I launch the other Thieves podcast. Oh wait, because there's more. I might have to get a bunch. I might need to get you, which is this one's gonna take some planning. You, Big Rich, and Graph on a podcast.
Oh, that's a crew. Oh,
Yeah.
we'd have a blast.
But like I said, that's gonna take some
Yeah,
fucking
yeah,
planning
absolutely, yeah.
because everybody's casting. But this has been your boy Mike. I'm out. Peace.